Hey, what's up everybody? My name's Kyle. Welcome to Top 5 Live, brought to you by Beacon Credit Union. You may not know it, but November is National Entrepreneurs Month. And good entrepreneurs, they learn from other people's mistakes. So today, we're counting down the worst business decisions of all time.
Number 5.
Anybody feel like heading over to Blockbuster to rent a movie with me? Hey girl, you want Blockbuster and chill tonight? No? Well, that's probably because Blockbuster's CEO passed up on buying Netflix multiple times in the early 2000s when it was valued at just $50 million. Now $50 million might sound like a lot of money, and it is, but it wasn't a Blockbuster back in the day, but no more. Today, Blockbuster's bankrupt and Netflix is valued at over $19 billion. Now, Blockbuster tried hard to get Netflix to deal when they had realized their mistake. Netflix CEO Reed Hastings is quoted as saying they were throwing everything at us but the kitchen sink. Famously, the next day, Blockbuster CEO sent Reed Hastings a kitchen sink.
Number 4.
An A&R rep is responsible for finding talent for a record label. Now, on New Year's Day 1961, a little English band called the Beatles was lined up in front of A&R rep Mike Smith, who worked for Decca Records. Now, the Beatles wanted to sign, but Mike passed on the band, stating that he thought the guitar groups were on their way out. Later that year, Mike, he signed a band that you've never heard of. And the Beatles went on to be the most lucrative band of all time, selling over 4 billion records. Now, before we continue with our countdown, I do want to take a second to mention our title sponsor, Beacon Credit Union. Now, everybody on our list today has made a bad business decision, but you can make a good one. Refinance your auto loan with Beacon Credit Union today, and it'll give you a little financial breathing room because you won't have to make a payment on your auto loan for 90 days. Contact someone on Beacon Credit Union today, and be sure to like them on Facebook because this month they're giving away an iPod.
Number 3.
Now, the next bad business decision, it's a little nerdy. Luke, I am your father. In 1977, George Lucas must have used the force on some Fox Entertainment executives when he got them to sell back the merchandising rights for Star Wars for just $20,000. These are not the droids you're looking for. George Lucas made it off like the dark side. Yeah, think about how much it would cost to run the dark side. Just a Star Destroyer alone, what's that cost? To date, Star Wars merchandising has generated over $20 billion.
Number 2.
My guess is that if I ask you to Google something, you know what that means. You'd probably even know what I was saying if you had a question and I told you to ask Jeeves. But my hunch is that if you had a question and I told you to excite something, you'd have no idea what I was talking about. Well, that could be different if it wasn't for the blunderous decision of Excite CEO George Bell. You see, in 1999, Google offered their company to George for just $750,000. George refused, and in just a matter of years, Excite was a search engine that nobody cared about. But today, if you Google, how much is Google worth? You'll realize that their assessed value has grown from $750,000 to over $365 billion.
Number 1.
In 1976, two guys named Steve and a guy named Ron started a business in their garage. Now, Ron didn't get along with one of the Steves, and he sold his stake in the company for just $800. Now, Ron's full name was Ron Wayne, and the Steve he didn't get along with was Steve Jobs. You know, the famous CEO from Apple? As it turns out, despite having drawn the original Apple logo, writing the manual for the Apple I, and drafting the original contract for the founding partners of Apple, Ron sold his 10% stake for just $800. Today, Apple's worth $589,739,000,000. And that means that Ron's stock would have been worth just under $60 billion. I bet Ron's typing away on a Dell laptop these days. We're Top 5 Live, and thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like Beacon Credit on Facebook. You got a chance to win an iPod, you'll find some great financial tips, and you'll see more great videos just like this one. You guys have a great week.